unconditional self-acceptance, and they manifest more joy into their life. I work with women who are spiritually minded, creative, and who have a or are going through and experience a painful transition with either a romantic relationship, a family connection, a career relationship, and they are ready to basically nourish and in a whole and emotionally balanced life that they love. And we do that through embracing all of their emotions, nurturing inner balance, and really aligning with their authentic expression. So that's a little bit about me and what I do.
Over to you, Dr. Biget. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Numsa, and I love that. Let me ask you, how how often do you look at the mirror and tell the persons that's on the other side of the mirror, I love you, I appreciate you, I care about you, and we'll share in just a moment on how doing that will make a difference and actually extremely critical for you in creating a result, not just in healing emotionally, but also in creating a result across, whether it is in your relationship, in your health, at your work, in your finances. So join us. I'm Dr. Burjit Tan, Grief Transformation Specialist, and here to help you upgrade your result and up level your life in a way that you love it very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. So, our topic today is the importance of nourishing a relationship with yourself. And Rachel, you chose this topic. So, I'm just going to explain a little bit, and then Rachel will take over and explain why she chose this topic, because it might be something that she's passionate about. So when we think about a relationship, when someone says a relationship, the first thing that comes into your mind, it could be intimacy relationship, it could be family relationship, it could be relationship with your friends. You wouldn't think about basically relationship with yourself, and we easily basically neglect the relationship within ourselves, which is the most important relationship in order for us to love other people, to share intimacy, our love with our loved ones. We need to love ourselves first. So I'm gonna let Rachel explain to our audience about this topic. What was the passion behind the topic? Over to you, Rachel, please.
Thank you. Well, for me, life is a relationship, and everything that we interact with is a relationship. Our relationship with ourself is really at the core, and it is the way that we feel that is really setting the tone for how we are going to interact and have a relationship with everything around us. And it's influencing the relationship we have with ourselves is influencing the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate, the way we listen, and the way we love. And having that healthy relationship then with ourselves is really crucial to experience a good life. I know personally that having a relationship not with myself, how damaging that is. Um, Today, I can happily say that I am my greatest achievement. When life gets tough, I get tough and I kind of show up and I'm resilient and I'm courageous and I'm determined. And I'm really quite blown away at my ability to be able to transform negatives into positives, because at the top of my list is the relationship that I form with that woman that I see each and every day in the mirror. You see, I remember there was a time when I was just in a high street clothing shop, making my way to the changing room, and I just started to get my hands were getting clammy and my heart was pounding, and I just felt sick, because those changing rooms had become that relationship with the changing room had become a living nightmare. Um, And I could hear this voice in my head saying, "You're too fat to wear that. You're too, um, you know, you just don't look the part. You're hideous." And at the same time, I saw this image of myself stood before the mirror with abusive words all over it. Um, and I just froze there on the spot. And I thought, I can't go in and face yet again another toxic reflection of my own emotional abuse that I had given to myself over the years. Um, and so I kind of just turned and I walked away. But at the same time, that experience, that really woke me up to the fact that I had created this beast in my head. Um, and at the same time, I then heard this kind of whisper, what if you learn to love the beast? And from there onwards really was my journey of self-healing and self-acceptance, and really truly getting in a relationship with myself and putting myself from the bottom of the list to the top of my priority list. And therefore, it woke up my sleeping heart. My heart was closed to myself but open to others, but not truly, as I learned, because you're never, unless really you're open to yourself, then you're never going to be fully open to anybody else. And so, yeah, it's dear to my heart because I've come from self-hate to self-love. And I know that many women live with a beast in their head, and they are their biggest judge, and they are living victim to that. And so, yeah, that's why I think this was an important topic to share and talk to people about. So, Dr. Bridget, what do you think?
I love that the definitions of the beast in our head and how important it is and to be able to create a good relationship with that. And I would agree that it's one of those things that yes, until you can have a good relationship with yourself, it is something that can be challenging to have a good relationship with others. And a lot of time we talk about relationship, we think about, oh, perhaps it's a romantic relationship or a friendship or something. What we forgot is really the moment we everything that we do, sometimes we forget that everything that we do relies on relationship. Even when you are doing business, for instance, then you have to create a relationship. And if you have a very harsh opinion about yourself, then when something else has happened, when an opportunity happened, when something that required you to be closer, and just a lot of people, I think, are into this. Well, yes, I kind of not liking myself, but I'm just gonna live with that. I'm just gonna tough it up. But what we forgot is influence our result, even in other things like business and so forth. And so I would agree, it's very important to create a wonderful relationship that is something that will allow you to, regardless of what's the specific, it will allow you to flow more easily.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bigot and Rachel. I love the beast, confronting the beast, and learning to love the beast. The beast. I think that is an amazing thing that you can do for yourself. And um, I love, Rachel, when you explain that when you don't love yourself, you are damaging your life. And I love, Dr. Bigot, when you say everything that we do that involves our relationship, it relies the business, the friendship, or with our friends, with our family, relies on the relationship we have with ourselves. I love that because our lives can be ruined, like Dr. Bigot says. And I love when Rachel says she became the woman that she is today because of the choices that she made for herself to accept the woman, this amazing woman that is in front of us, that when she looked at herself, she never appreciated herself. And it took her this long to actually accept that actually I'm going to love myself. And I think that's what we do. And that was your story, actually similar to mine. I used to spend like 2 hours or 2.5 hours actually getting ready. And I did nothing for personal development. I didn't do any meditation. I didn't pray unless until things started going wrong. And I looked at my life. I was the woman that would step outside, make sure when I stepped outside, I didn't step in the mud, protecting the wardrobe, basically making sure that when everyone sees me stepping outside, getting in the car, they're like, wow. But inside, I was broken. I didn't do no meditation, nothing, until I realized actually what's on the inside of me is greater than what's on the outside. And I started having that relationship with myself, and I started loving myself, and I started accepting myself. And sometimes I go out with my friends, they behave the way they behave, and I'll start trying to fit in because I didn't know who I was. But I didn't drink. Thank God I did not fit in by trying to drink or by trying to smoke or trying to do the things that they do. I didn't do all those things. It's just like the way they dress, I want to do the same. The way they do things, I would like to do the same. The behavior, I would end up doing the same because I'm trying to fit in. And when you are trying to fit in with people, you get frustrated because it's not actually your character. You are living in someone else's character. And when you meet men, and I'll try my best that you shouldn't see me without makeup. Yeah, I have to have makeup. I have to have this, until I actually found myself. And when I met my spouse, now that we are together, he looked at me and he was like, Nomsa, you are not fake. I was like, what do you mean? When I meet him, I just laugh because sometimes before I wouldn't express how I was feeling. I would just think, basically being judgmental of myself.
Mm.
And when I decided that I'm just gonna be me, and if it turns up I don't have makeup, I'll just walk with barefoot, pajamas in the morning. If it's in the morning, I'll walk with barefoot and open the man in the door and greet him with my smile, because he fell in love with this smile that I have. He fell in love with me, didn't fall in love with makeup. I actually divorced wearing makeup as well because I felt that I was hiding behind makeup. I stopped wearing makeup as well. I just wanted to be me. And I stopped getting ready for 2 hours. Now, 45 minutes. I'm ready because I have a party every single day. I shower single day, so I'm clean. So all I do is I make sure that I love clothes. So that is left. But anything else, I just love myself. I spend time meditating. I spend time praying. I spend time with God, basically. And I spend time loving myself and loving the people around me. And I'm sure, Dr. Biggett, you've realized that at Nkosi talk shows, basically, I basically let people be. I've learned that the hard way. Instead of trying to control, I've learned to let go and let people be, let people become who they want to become. And that is tough. And I know, Rachel, you've done a lot of work. You can explain to our audience. And Dr. Biggett, you both done loads of work for yourself within, and self-love. You've done so much. So what I would like you guys to explain to our audience, how does it feel to actually confront that beast? What steps can you actually take? Because to confront the beast is not easy. To love that beast that you tell yourself that I'm fat, I'm this, is not something that is easy. Any woman that is watching and say, oh, for me it was easy, they'll be lying to us. So over to you, Rachel. What helped you?
I think first and foremost, I made a decision and I committed to it, which was I'm going to start caring about how I feel. because up until that point, I had spent more time caring about what other people felt, be that what they, how they feel about me, they feel about what I was doing, feeling about, and the list would just go on. And it was, you know, even if it meant that I didn't feel great, I would still do something. And then I thought, that needs to stop. So I would say that that was probably the first and foremost, and it's become probably one of my top values, daily values that I live by, which is checking in with myself and saying, how do I feel? Because I think many of us are really, shall we say, we've lived our lives up until this moment where we start to change things by how we've been taught, and through the information that we've been, that has been given to us and that we've gathered and absorbed during our childhood. And we never really then question that status quo. We just follow these unwritten rules, regardless of whether or not are they making me feel happy? Do I feel satisfied, or am I fulfilled? We just don't ask those questions. And I know that it doesn't have to stay like that, because when you decide, hey, I want to take responsibility for my life, and I want to be able to choose how I'm going to spend the rest of my days, on this beautiful planet that we all share, I started to then ask these questions. And I think questions are a great way to help you to confront that beast, and to help to because it's not about pushing the beast away. It's not about making the beast bad. The beast is there for a reason. You've created it, so you can also re-educate it. And so I started asking questions like, what or who do I truly want to be? How do I truly want to live my life? And whose truth am I living? Am I living the life of what I have put together, or am I living the life of what someone else has put in front of me? And so I needed to really discover my truth. And Your Beast is a great way to uncover what your truth is, because what I started to find was the beast would tell me everything actually that I'm not. So the opposite of that was telling me everything that I am. And it's about loving your pain. And I don't mean like, hey, this is great fun. I mean, don't judge it and don't make it wrong, your pain. It's when you start to have a relationship with yourself that is one of love. Real love is one that isn't transactional. It's acceptance. And so I developed this relationship with myself, based on whatever pain I'm feeling. It's okay. I accept it. And what can I learn from it? And what's it trying to tell me or teach me? Because pain is our greatest teacher. I'm not sure if I 100% answered what you were maybe trying to want to get at me, but yeah. Is there anything else that you would like me to add?
Yes, you have answered it. I would love to hear Dr. Biggert. I think our audience, they have an idea, because you have explained basically that you can actually rewrite the rules how you wanted to rewrite them, instead of living in someone else's story. We were both, for me, basically, I was very, very lucky. My parents raised me to basically become the person that I wanted to become. They've never said to me, we want you to be a doctor, we want you to be this, we wanted you to be that. I've always live my life how I want. They were there to guide me, because my dad was a teacher. I watched one of someone's channel, one of the speakers, and he was saying, if you really, really want to learn something, to write goals and stick to them, find someone who is a teacher. My father was a teacher, but he behaved like a psychologist. He was basically my psychologist to me. Although when I grew up, I started following other people's identities, but he did his best as a father not to control me, like to say, you got to be the person that you want to be, like teaching me what he knew. and saying you have to face the world on your own. I cannot be there for you. I can be there emotionally supporting, but everything else is your decision. Basically, I chose to, when you turn 18, you want to fit in with everybody else. And when everybody talks about boyfriends, they have boyfriends, you want to fit in. They're doing this, you want to fit in because you feel like you're being left out. So I'm sure every woman or man there who is watching, they've gone through all that. But for me, I'm glad that there were things that I didn't do, but there were things that I did. And it caused pain in my life. Like Rachel, you're saying that you have to re-educate. And I basically, for me, what helped me is not to blame my friends or not to blame my exes. I basically knew that I need to learn this on my own. I needed to really figure out who is Nomsa. And that was so painful. There were days where I'll go in front of the mirror and just cry, asking God to forgive me because of the choices that I have made. So I would love to hear from Dr. Bigot, the beast, Dr. Bigot.
Thank you, Numsat. So for me personally, it was be it's actually for me it's more on how to, creating a good relationship with myself. It's involved, and it's probably perhaps because I am quite a believer in in good for all. It's more of a I actually look outside as well as look inside instead of saying, well, I don't care anymore about what other people says and things and what have you. I actually ask, what is it that's for the greatest good for all? And whatever it is, and the greatest good for all mean it is something that is good for me as well as it is something that is good for others. So for me, when I look back and create a relationship, and in whatever it is, it's always when I do something, it's like, what is for the greatest good for all? And then I will go for that. And because it's just for me, it feels it's one of those things that and it's sometimes what's the greatest good for all is not necessarily what every other person in the society says, and sometimes it is. And it's about it's kind of like have a guiding light to me. What is most important for us? What is most important for you? Hi, Agadir, thank you for joining us. Please share your thoughts if you'd like to. But it's kind of like, what is your most important, what are your highest core value, is how I actually learn to create a relationship, because the highest core value is what's deep in you. And so knowing to have a guiding light, so to say like a north star, what are some of my highest core value, and from there also I discover about that it's very important for me to have to be of service, to be have greater good for all, and use that, and actually it's embrace where it need to be embraced, to bring forth what need to be bring forth, as well as to adjust and adapt certain things that's not necessarily serving. And because there are sometimes what we so called peace in us, sometimes it's actually saying an opportunity. It's like, oh, well, YouTube, for my examples in the past, I used to be a 10 out of 10 introvert, a severe introvert, and it says this and that. And then looking back, and I said, you know what? You're right. If I am this way and that way, that will be for the greatest good for all, for even better good for all. And so I said, you know what? Yes, I'm going to change in this aspect. And some other times it is, well, it's just being judgmental, and it's just being harsh because of listening to every other thing that is not serving me and not serving the greatest good of all. And so I would say, for me, it is to discover where is it that I want to go, where is it that I want to go, and then allow the rest to come with that, and then to allow myself to actually to I actually don't call it the beast. It's basically the inside, the child in us that sometimes has been very wounded, and so that create that is scared. The child in us that's very scared. The child in us that might have had an experience, and so to me, it is to embrace that and give it as much love as possible, and continue actually checking with that child in us, the little girl and the little boy in us, that say and say this something that's agreeing with you, given that it is what our north star, so to say, is, and to allow support if it is something that we don't know how to go from where we are to where we would love to be.
Thank you so much, Dr. Biggett. I love it when you say basically your goal basically is to discover where your life wants to take you and where you want to go. I think that is very, very important for us to know who we are and where we want to go. And the greatest good for all. Basically, we all make different choices in life, but we speak in one voice. Basically, when I listen to you and I listen to Rachel, you're all explaining things in different ways, but your voice, your path, basically you all want to achieve one goal. You want to achieve same thing basically, and I think that is really, really amazing for someone to know who they are, and to know where you want to go with your life, and to know what is important, basically your values and your beliefs. Like myself, my values, basically for me, basically I cannot do things without God. And I'm a great believer when it comes to God. Basically, I'm like, even my family, they're like, are you bonkers? I'm like, no, I'm not. Because I just tell them that I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for God. And sometimes I do make decisions, and things do go wrong. And then I have to go back and say, you know what? My way is not working. Can you help me with your way? And that's when things start falling into place. So I think that is very, very, very important. I think I have a question. How can I have a good relationship with myself? um how can I have a good relationship myself when everything is basically falling apart? I'm being told that I have to love the beast, I have to love myself, I have to know where I'm going. But how do you love yourself when life basically, there are some people basically who live this life where when they're trying to make a decision, everything it just falls into, it basically goes wrong. So how do you continue loving myself? Some people give up. So I just want some tips, guys. If you can just help somebody, basically, if their lives is falling apart at this moment when they are watching the show, and how can they go on loving themselves? Rachel, please.
Um, well, I think first and foremost, and it was one of my rules, like my own little personal rules, was that I'm innately um, valuable because I'm human. And I think to reinforce and tell yourself, I am valuable no matter what. It's my birthright. I've been born. I've been given a life. Therefore, I am valuable. Um, and I think for me also one of the biggest things that helped me was I exchanged the disregarding or ignoring or repressing um, for compassion. Having compassion for yourself, which means that you are with yourself just like you would be with a friend when you are going through some form of pain, some form of suffering, just to be with yourself compassionately, um, and to really just say to yourself, I'm not going to continue to criticize and judge myself, because criticism is, it's a poison, and it's harmful to us and our psyche. And the other one is to be, instead of being the bully to yourself, is to be your champion, is to be that, the one who's cheering you on, no matter what. And I think also curiosity, to actually approach everything that happens that's going on in your life with curiosity. That part of me that became curious is a part of me that I am so happy that I have. And I've just realized my battery is just about to die. One moment. That wasn't very good planning. Okay. Yeah, this curiosity part of me, she has helped me through all of my life adversities and my challenges, because that gave me the chance to, look at things differently, to see through a different lens, to, um, give myself a different kind of support, because curiosity makes you want to widen the lens. Um, and I think to be intentional with everything. So when you wake up in the morning and you've got that first, you just, it's all just started, is okay, wait a minute, is this really how I want to continue my day? The sooner you can grab hold of, the thoughts that are going to start to make you feel in a certain way, the sooner you are aware of that and can grab hold of it and go, wait a minute, let's press pause, and then be intentional with, how do I want to feel today? And then choose what thoughts are going to help you to feel that way. I think is, really important. And consistency, to show up for yourself every day, even when you're having a bad day. You're entitled to have a bad day. We're human beings. It's part and parcel, because if you don't have a bad day, you're not going to know what a good day is. And so, accept that whatever you're feeling is okay, and keep reminding yourself that there is no wrong feeling. Every feeling you can honor, because it's there for a reason. It's there to give you an experience. And yes, sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's maybe not an experience that you particularly would have gone and chosen, but without you experiencing that, then you don't know when you're gonna, the opposite of that. So we have to be grateful for every emotion that shows up in our life, because it's giving us the opportunity to experience the wholeness of life, not just one perspective of it. So yeah, so it's be intentional, be curious, exchange judgment for compassion, and be your supporter, be your champion, be your best friend, not your enemy and your bully. Yeah, those are some of my points. What about you, Dr. Birgit? And sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly.
Oh, that's perfectly fine. Thank you so much. I love that. I love the question, Numsa. Like, well, if your life is falling apart, then how could you have a good relationship with yourself? And being a grief coach, that's something that's very commonly to happen in one way or another. People who come to me as a grief coach feel that either their whole life's falling apart, or there is a part of their life that's falling apart, otherwise you're not grieving. And so I would say for if your life's falling apart, and you, how do you not hate yourself, and so forth. The first thing I would say is to actually to allow, to acknowledge and allow. So what if you hate yourself? It's okay that you hate yourself. So many times people who are grieving are told, you need to be this way, you need to be that way, you need to be strong, you need to be kind. Feelings are just feelings. Every feelings are valid, and every feelings are different and differs from time to times. I tend to say is, look at your fingerprints, and if you look at your finger closely, you see that every finger has a slightly different prints, and that's how your feelings are. And when they different from every individual, and moment to moment your feelings might be different. So if you do wake up in the morning and your life is nowhere that where you would love to be, and you feel that you hate yourself, first of all, Dr. Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, says an abnormal behavior and an abnormal circumstance is normal. And so just know that it might just be normal for you to hate yourself at that moment. And instead of saying, okay, I got to be strong, I got to be this, I would say, acknowledge that. And you know what? Big, big, giant hug for you. Whatever that you're feeling, it's okay. It's okay that you hate yourself at that moment if your life's falling apart. It's okay that you feel that you are no good. It's okay. Whatever your feelings are always valid, which means you are valid. So many times, part of the reasons we hate ourselves is we are invalidated. I have one client very recently who had a loss 2 years ago and been through one after another coach that say you got to be this way, you got to be that way, you got to be strong, and over time, each time, it just make her feel worse and worse. And so yes, you are valid. Your feelings valid. If you hate yourself, that's okay. Allow yourself to hate yourself. And then you can ask, what's the outcome that you would love? What is the outcome that you would really, really love from that moment? It's not even a big outcome or what have you, but from the moment, what is it that you would really, really love? And if the outcome that you would really love is, I just want to feel this way for the moment and I don't want to be bothered, then it's okay. You are valid and you are lovable. In whichever way that you are lovable, whether you are there hating yourself or whether you are doing something very triumphant that is for society triumphant might not be for you at the moment. So whichever way, it's okay. If you are facing a tough time, it just be you, whatever it is. And then they keep asking, what is the outcome that you would love? And if the outcome is to say, well, actually, I don't want to feel this way, then by all means, then we ask what's one little step that we can think that we can do. And sometimes it's perhaps shift in our thinking, perhaps it's reaching out to somebody who actually understand you and allow you to be you, but also allow you to create the outcome you want. Perhaps it's checking back and asking, so really, what is that my North Star there? The what is that why I say what really, really love? And then take the actions toward that as much as you can. And sometimes it's some you cannot take actions at the moment if you're facing tough times and everything's already falling apart anyway. And that's the reasons you're feeling crummy. But I would say to for me it is to acknowledge and to allow and then to ask and to choose and look at all those with kindness and allow yourself to forgive yourself all the things that you perceive that you have done incorrectly, and to forgive everything else is that's going on, and to forgive you the past, the present, and the future. Now forgiveness is kind of like the F word of personal developments nowadays. Like nobody want to forgive, and there is so many different things about forgiveness, but to forgive, the true definition really is to forgive. The true definitions for grief specialists is actually literally just to let go your wish that thing happen differently. It has nothing to do with agreeing, has nothing to do with approving, it has nothing to do but it's not even has anything to do with love. It just let go of your wish that things happen differently such that you'll be able to go toward the direction that the outcome that you want. But if you having a tough time, just know you have been very strong, you've been very brave, and you are absolutely valid and much love and big hug to you if that feels something that suits you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biget. I love you guys that you basically, um, Rachel says, when your life is falling apart, no matter what is going on, is have compassion within yourself and refuse to criticize yourself or to judge yourself. Show up for yourself. I actually agree with Rachel, because when you are having a bad day and you want to, I know Dr. Bickett, you promote gratitude a lot. When you are having a bad day, I remember um, I was so excited moving moving house after lockdown, and I even went on the street, the house where I was gonna go, and just when you've seen the house and you get excited that I'm moving house, the exchange date, you have all these things planned and everything, and the last minute things fell apart, and I found myself, I'm like, what's gonna happen now? But I remember I sat on the stairs, what Rachel is saying, I had compassion with myself, and I was like, moving house, I can find another house. This one is, I've been let down, I can find another one. And the stress, if I allow myself to be stressed and then tomorrow I'm gonna find a house, then I'm stressed, I'm allowing the stress. I'll remember sitting down and saying, God, I'm giving it all to you, but I refuse to be stressed by anything that I don't have control over. I don't have control over this. I don't have control, and I'm not. I refuse. I remember when I refused, there was the energy. Basically, it was digging in, basically to wanting me to feel the pain. And then I remember the pain goes away. So I'm like, what the heck is going on? What was going on? So I was like, okay, when Bob Potter speaks, he always say you can actually choose to respond in life. So I'm like, so I can actually choose how I'm responding right now. So I remember basically choosing to respond that whatever will be. And I remember choosing to say, you know what, I don't need to feel ashamed. I don't need to worry about anything. And I was like, I have a family, that I have a home. And I remember uh, telling people that, you know what, if you want to move into the house, we've just been let down, you can move into the house. And I said to my father-in-law, can we move in with you and my spouse, because you are having a laugh, because you want us to go and live with my dad. And I was like, what is wrong with living with your dad? And he was like, there's no space. Can you look at this house? You want us to go and live with my dad? I was like, yeah, we can do it. And the kids, basically, I was on my own. The kids were siding with their father, and they were like, we don't agree to this. I was like, give me an idea, guys, that is gonna work. Or the idea is we start, those people that need to move in here, they start getting messed up, everybody gets messed up. So if we have a choice, and I was like, okay, let's take things to the storage. He saw my idea, or like, is a better idea, take things to the storage, and then we go. And we ended up staying there for 6 months. It was something that we didn't ask for, but I continued. The love that I have for myself, and the love that I have for my family, and the love that I have for God kept me going. And I didn't, I'll listen, I'll go on Instagram and see Dr. Biggett's post, because every morning you post things. What are you grateful of? I think you realize that every time when I respond, it was, I'm grateful for my life. And that's what was keeping me going, that I have to be grateful for my life. Because if I'm complaining, if I'm judging my life, and God will say, Nomsa, I'm there for you. I'm holding your hand, but you're not being grateful. So those were the things that I was basically, that kept me going. And Dr. Bigger, you talk about forgiveness and allowing yourself to feel the pain. And for me, basically, I refused to feel the pain. I was like, what kind of pain do I need to feel? If I feel the pain, I spend 3 years, 2 years asking God to forgive me for the pain that I've carried for 20 years. And now I have to be all about me just because of the house. I look at myself, I was like, I have good health. And somebody's being told something else every single day about their health. So I refused. Basically, I was like, pain, I would just shout and say, get out. I basically refused. So I refused to feel the pain when my life was falling apart. And in that moment, it made me realize that money cannot buy life, money cannot buy love. Money is the energy that can help us to live each and every single day. But there are times where when you have the money, it cannot basically give you what you want, because I had the money and somebody telling me that no, I changed my mind with my house, and I was like, oh my God. So I've learned so much, and loving yourself and showing up. I kept showing up, and thank you, Rachel, for that. I kept showing up for myself, and Dr. Bigot, I kept forgiving myself, and I was like, God, if there is anything that I have done that has brought me to this situation, or anything that my ancestors have done or my parents have done, please forgive me. Those were my words each and every day. And I knew that God loves me, and that's what carried me, uh made it helped me to go on. And Rachel,
Yeah.
if anyone is watching right now and they basically want to create the habits of loving themselves, to make it a habit of each and every single day, do you have any advice that you can give to them that has helped you to be the woman that you are today, please? And
So,
Dr. Pickett, when she's finished as well, you can do the same thing.
so this is the rounding off part, final words kind of thing. um, yeah, I think, like, to give the reassurance that it's not actually until we're lost that we really can begin to find ourselves. So, bear that in mind, that's the positive side of feeling like everything is just tumbling down, and life is not going according to what you'd hoped, and you're feeling disconnected. That's a great sign. It's a great sign, because now you're going to start to find yourself. And I really would invite your listeners to open themselves up to saying, let me go on a new journey where I can go back and or reclaim my own voice, and have a life where I feel rewarded because it feels like it's my own. And if you want to know why, well, because you deserve that. So just dare to dream living a life on your own terms, and pursue that path that is true to that inner light within that wants to shine. It is always shining, but it's down to you to get it to shine brighter. And your future really is depending upon what it is that you do today. You can let life happen to you, or you can choose to co-create with life and make it happen for you. That is a choice. It's your choice. And so just remember that every choice that you are making on a daily basis is actually determining the life that you're going to get tomorrow, the day after, and the day after that, and thereafter, and so on. So yeah, and just remember, you are love, and you are the source of everything. It's not out there, it's in here, and it starts here. So, Dr. Bridget.
Thank you, Nimson. Thank you, Rachel. To me, excuse me, to create the habit, it's back to remembering and using the tool that you have you every day, every moment. That's your fingers, your fingerprints. So I created something they call the five fingers method, and that in there, if you work with me, you actually you learn to use each and every one of your fingers and apply it every day, moment to moment. But even if you don't have that, then to remember the fingerprints. We all meant to have different combination of fingerprints, and each finger has a slightly different prints, which means you meant to be different. You're not meant to be like your mother, your neighbor, your significant other, whomever, whatsoever, whether you are facing a tough times or whether you are in a state that you said, I want to be able to create my life or love myself or what have you. Just remember to that you everyone's different, and not only that's translated to two things. One, yes, it's is something that you meant to be different, but also it means everybody has different opinion. Everybody has different opinion, and so your mother might has my mother up until now still has her own opinion what things supposed to be, and that is all wonderful. That is all wonderful. That surely it is something where, okay, that is your preference, that's what they want the things to be, and in whichever way. And and on the other hand, what is your opinion? So it's actually remembering that everyone's different, so you meant to be different. You meant to look different than the model that's on the magazine and you meant to look different, to think differently than somebody else in Harvard Business whatsoever magazine if you run a business. And so you just meant to be different, but at the same time, just like you have an opinion about something, someone else might have an opinion about something else that's different from you. And so it's a matter of just says, okay, well, what is my North Star? And what is serving me and what is not serving me? And going to that directions of the North Star of what is it that really are your some of your core values, some of the things that I teach. To really, really know what are some of your say top 4 to 5 core value. What is it? And allow that to guide you, and again knowing that everybody meant to be different. You might meant to have different hair than your mother's, and then back to what you said, Numsa, to be grateful. Now this is if you are at a stage, we're talking earlier just now when life falling apart completely. Some people find it excuse me, to be impossible to even be grateful, and that's okay. That's okay if you are at a state you cannot even be grateful. Big hugs to yourself. But if you are at a different state from of life, then yes, I am all about gratitude, asking what can you be grateful, and actually even further, a step further from there. If Napoleon Hill says that every adversity, every failures, every heartbreak has the seed of an equal or greater benefit in it. So what are the potential seed of greater good from that moment? This is if you are in the mid. Your question is to create a habits of daily habits of being able to love yourself. Then ask, for instance, for me, one of the thing that I had I breakthrough was at some point when I was a really young child, when I was a kid, actually not at one point, multiple times. I was told that one of the I was told I was a stiff, clumsy, stupid, ugly duckling, and I also was told that, oh yeah, my legs are the most hideous, ugly, and big, and pedicab driver's leg. And so with that, by when I was able to reach a state of I want to create good habit, then I said, okay, well, what's the potential good in there? Not only I'm grateful that I have legs and I'm able to walk, and some people don't. what could the potential good? By then I love dancing. By then I love hiking. Well, apparently have big, strong legs beneficials to be able to for dancing and hiking. And so that is one of those example. But if you are at the state where you actually kind of have your feet on the ground already, not deep in the ditch, then yes, of course, then by all means, to remember that everyone's meant to be different, including their opinions, and what can you be grateful for, and what potential good of whatever that you are, even all the voices, what are the potential good from that?
Nomsa, can I just quickly say something? It was popping in my head as Dr. Birgit was talking. I'm currently reading, I've been reading this book, and I'm apologies that I don't remember the name of the author, but it's called The Four Agreements. I don't know if you've heard of it, but that was like, if you can take these four agreements as a habit, I think that this can be really beneficial. And the first one is be impeccable with your word. The second one is don't make assumptions. And the third one is don't take things personally. And the fourth one is just do your best. And that doesn't mean that your best has got to be perfect, because it fluctuates. So your best one day is not going to be the same as another. But if you know in your heart of hearts you've tried your best, that's what counts. And yeah, don't make assumptions means that we're all living in our own world. We're making our own ideas up and beliefs and opinions, like Dr. Brigitte was saying. And so everybody, if you see that everybody is walking in their own world, and you're assuming that you think you know what somebody else is talking about, saying, thinking, whatever, don't. And the same, always ask. It's much easier. And not to take things personally, because whatever anybody is saying about you, it's more about them than it is about you. So yeah, just wanted to add that quickly.
So much. Thank you so much. Do you have any words of encouragement, Rachel, before we leave, or Dr. Biggett, before Rachel says any words of encouragement? Did you have anything to add with what she just said?
For me, words of encouragement, I sort of kind of think I've already sort of said it previously, but at the end of the day, for me, the best thing that you can do for yourself is just to really make how you feel your priority in life. And if you're not feeling good, it's a really good sign that you need to change your course of action, because you're now not going towards your true north, which is what Dr. Brigitte was talking about. That is what your emotions are for. Your emotions are your internal guidance system, and they are directing you and helping you to understand, to keep you on that path that is leading you to your true north. What is best for you, what your all of you is in that destination. It's not something to go out and achieve. It's something that you're building within you, and it's being expressed outwardly. So just keep in tune with your emotions. Don't deny them. Don't repress them. Allow them. Feel them. Name them. Listen to what the message is, and then take action. So.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Any words of encouragement, Dr. Biggett, or you've just said your words of encouragement?
I would say just to remember that again, everybody meant to be different. So you are awesome as you are. You don't have to change in any way, shape, or form. Or yes, if you want to change in any way, shape, or forms, that is definitely wonderful. But if you say, you know what, I don't want to change in any way, shape, or form, you're awesome as you are. And if you do want to change and you don't know which directions to go and what's the next step, then allow support. Then you'll make it a whole lot easier for yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Biggett and Rachel. And for me, basically, I'm gonna, if Rachel, if you can look at the book and send me the title of the book, it sounds really good, so I can look for it, the full agreement. It sounds really good. I would love to do that. And Dr. Bigot, I love Rachel, the full agreement. I love the fingerprints. It's a big statement when it comes to our fingerprints, because my fingerprints and Dr. Biget's fingerprints is our identity. They are all different. So I think that is very, very, very powerful when somebody tells you dare to dream, and someone tells you that follow your fingerprints are different. I think that is amazing. Thank you so much, ladies. And for me, basically, is if you didn't make me, you cannot define me. My creator can define me. And basically just live your life how you're meant to be that person that you think you should be, and don't be ashamed. Don't basically be ashamed of people judging you. Whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing, people always have something to say about it. So just be the person. Do what you think is right for you. And when you do what you think is right for you, your feelings, your relationship, your fingerprints, your dreams, like Rachel was saying, Dr. Bigot is saying, your fingerprints will relate to you, relate to your values, to your beliefs. So we are here at Ngozi Talk Shows Monday to Friday, 1 p.m. UK time. And UK subscribers, please subscribe to our channel. And if you are looking to connect with Rachel, please do. If you are looking to connect with Dr. Bigot, please do. These are coaches who have whatever they are saying, they are walking it, they are talking it, they are wearing high heels, the high heels that they are wearing, the flat heels that they are wearing, they are speaking their language that they are speaking right now. So if you want to find your own voice, lead from within and find your own voice, follow these coaches. Or if you want to connect with them for business or to work with them, get in touch with me at Ngozi Talk Shows, or follow them, message them on social media, and just work with these guys. And God bless everyone. Live with grace.